Hi guys, welcome back to TM Movie Vault. Today we're looking into one of the most intense and underrated subgenres in military cinema, court-martial movies. These are the films where the battlefield isn't just filled with bullets and explosions, it's filled with lies, betrayal, politics, and impossible moral choices. In these stories, the courtroom becomes the real war zone. From corrupt military systems to soldiers fighting for justice, these movies combine legal drama with emotional war stories in ways that keep you locked in from beginning to end. So today, we're counting down my top 5 military court-martial movies with number 5, Assault at West Point, The Court-Martial of Johnson Whitaker. Starting off the list is a powerful historical drama that many people have never heard about. Set in the late 1800s, this movie tells the true story of Johnson Whitaker, one of the first black cadets attending the prestigious United States Military Academy at West Point. Whitaker faces brutal racism from fellow cadets who want him expelled from the academy. One night, he's attacked in his dorm room, beaten badly, and left tied up. But instead of finding the real attackers, military officials accuse Whitaker himself of staging the assault. What follows is a disturbing and emotional court-martial trial where Whitaker is forced to defend himself against an institution already determined to destroy him. The film becomes less about military discipline and more about systemic racism, corruption, and survival inside a deeply unfair system. The courtroom scenes are incredibly tense because you know the odds are stacked against him from the beginning. Every witness, every accusation, and every cross-examination feels personal. What makes this movie so powerful is the fact that it's based on real events. It exposes how military honor can sometimes be manipulated by prejudice and politics. It's not filled with action sequences or battlefield explosions, but emotionally, it hits hard. If you enjoy historical military dramas with serious emotional weight, this movie is definitely worth watching. Number 4. Mutiny.
300 of us are dead. It's gonna happen again if everything just stays the same.
At number 4, we have Mutiny. Unlike most courtroom military films, this movie mixes naval warfare, survival, and rebellion into one intense story. The film follows a brutal sea captain whose cruel leadership pushes his crew to the breaking point. Conditions aboard the ship become unbearable as the captain rules through fear, punishment, and violence. Eventually, tensions explode into open mutiny. But after the rebellion takes place, the real conflict begins when the surviving crew members face military justice for turning against their commanding officer. The movie explores a difficult question. When does obedience stop being loyalty and start becoming oppression? The court-martial sequences are fascinating because the crew members are technically guilty of mutiny, one of the most serious crimes in military history, but the audience understands exactly why they rebelled. The film constantly forces viewers to question who the real villain is. Was it the men who broke military law? Or the commander who abused his power? Even though this is an older film, the themes still feel relevant today. Leadership, abuse of authority, and moral responsibility are at the center of every scene. The atmosphere on the ship also creates a sense of claustrophobic tension that makes the eventual trial even more dramatic. This is one of those classic military dramas that deserves more recognition. Number 3. Paths of Glory.
Everything all right, soldier?
He's a bit shell-shocked.
There is no such thing as shell shock.
Now we move to one of the greatest anti-war films ever made. Directed by the legendary Stanley Kubrick, Paths of Glory is a masterpiece of military injustice. Set during World War I, the film follows French soldiers ordered to carry out a suicidal attack against a heavily defended enemy position. The mission is impossible from the start. When the attack inevitably fails, the military high command refuses to accept responsibility for their terrible decision. Instead, they accuse their own soldiers of cowardice. 3 innocent soldiers are randomly selected to stand trial in a court-martial designed to make an example out of them. That's what makes this movie so horrifying. The soldiers aren't on trial because they're guilty. They're on trial because the military leadership needs scapegoats. Kirk Douglas delivers an incredible performance as Colonel Dax, the officer desperately trying to defend his men against a corrupt and heartless military system. The courtroom scenes are absolutely devastating because you quickly realize the verdict was decided before the trial even started. The film attacks blind patriotism, corrupt leadership, and the cruelty of war itself. Even decades later, Paths of Glory still feels shockingly modern. The black and white cinematography adds to the cold, hopeless atmosphere, making every scene feel heavy and unforgettable. This isn't just a military courtroom movie. It's one of the greatest war films ever made. Number 2. Rules of Engagement.
It's gonna take us both down, you know?
Yeah? How's that work, Hayes? You gonna spend the rest of your life in prison too?
At number 2, we have a military legal thriller packed with action, politics, and moral ambiguity. The movie stars Samuel L. Jackson as Colonel Terry Childers, a decorated Marine officer sent to protect the American embassy during a violent riot overseas. As the situation spirals out of control, Childers orders his troops to open fire on the crowd after coming under attack. The mission ends in chaos with civilian casualties, including women and children. When Childers returns home, the government quickly turns him into a scapegoat to avoid an international political disaster. He's arrested and placed on trial for murder and misconduct. That's when his old friend, played by Tommy Lee Jones, steps in to defend him during the court-martial. What makes this movie so gripping is that it constantly keeps you questioning the truth. Did Childers commit a war crime? Or did he make an decision under deadly pressure? The courtroom scenes are intense because evidence is hidden, political agendas involved, and military officials care more about protecting their reputations than finding the truth. The film also explores how soldiers are sometimes abandoned by the very governments they risked their lives to serve. The final revelations completely change how you view the entire story. This movie combines explosive combat scenes with strong courtroom drama perfectly, making it one of the most entertaining military legal thrillers ever made. Number 1. A Few Good Men.
We follow orders, son. We follow orders or people die. It's that simple. Are we clear? Yes, sir. Are we clear? Crystal.
Taking the number 1 spot is the ultimate military courtroom classic, A Few Good Men. This movie is legendary. The story begins when a young Marine dies at Guantanamo Bay after 2 fellow Marines carry out a violent disciplinary punishment known as a Code Red. Military lawyers Lieutenant Daniel Kaffee and Lieutenant Commander Joanne Galloway are assigned to defend the accused Marines during the court-martial. At first, the case seems straightforward. But as they investigate deeper, they uncover a terrifying truth involving illegal orders, abuse of power, and a military culture built on unquestioned obedience. Tom Cruise gives one of his best performances as Kaffee, a talented but inexperienced lawyer forced to challenge the military system head-on. And then there's Jack Nicholson as Colonel Nathan Jessup. Every single scene he appears in becomes unforgettable. The courtroom climax is one of the most iconic scenes in movie history. You can't handle the truth. That confrontation perfectly captures the entire message of the film. The movie forces viewers to ask difficult questions about honor, duty, and whether following orders excuses immoral actions. What makes A Few Good Men so incredible is how balanced it feels. The Marines on trial aren't evil villains. They genuinely believed they were serving their country correctly. The film shows how dangerous blind loyalty can become when powerful leaders abuse their authority. The dialogue is sharp, the performances are amazing, and the courtroom tension is absolutely unmatched. This movie remains the gold standard for military courtroom dramas. And that's why it takes the number 1 spot on this list. So those are my top 5 military court-martial movies. From historical injustice and corrupt leadership to impossible battlefield decisions and legendary courtroom confrontations, these films prove that some of the most intense military battles happen far away from the front lines. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more movie countdowns and recommendations. And let me know in the comments, what's your favorite military courtroom movie? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.